Okay, recording.
All right, cool. What's going on, guys? My name is Alex. I'm here with Thomas, and I am also here with Aidan, a part of our Spear podcast. Aidan, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right, so I kind of wanted to talk about your recap that you did of the men's basketball game against Air Force. Unfortunately, they did lose the game, but Myron Amy Jr. had 18 points, and it was still a close game, so they definitely could have won that game. What was impressive about Amy's performance too is that he scored all those points off the bench. So what about Amy's game kind of sticks out to you when you watch him that makes him such a dominant presence on the court?
Yeah, definitely. With the Air Force game, especially, we saw the Spartans offense just struggling, just the whole first half just struggling. And when even professional teams, college teams, whoever it may be, when there's those offensive droughts, you need somebody to step up that can score at will. And if even if the shots aren't going in, they have to be able to get in the paint, draw fouls. And Myra Amy Jr. is somebody that can do that. And it's just really important to have somebody that could light that fire under the team, because they started the Air Force game down 9-1 in like the first 7-8 minutes, and 1 point in 7-8 minutes just isn't going to cut it for any college team. So for him to come out, do that off the bench, it's huge. And then he came out in the second half, still got to the line, hit a clutch three. So you can see that he's pounding it in the paint, can still shoot the ball. And, you just need that when the offense from the other guys isn't really there. So I think just to score at will, he's one of those important pieces.
Right. Yeah, no, I've watched a couple men's basketball games, and yeah, like just his energy, he's super quick. So just having that ability on the court definitely changes, the pace of the team at certain times, especially when it comes off the bench.
Super
Um,
quick, low center of gravity, so he can kind of navigate between the big guys. And yeah, get in the paint, get that body to body contact, and still get the and one, get the shots go in, and yeah, do the dirty work. A guard that could do the dirty work. That's something that everybody needs.
all right, yeah. So these next two questions are going to be about the game tonight. We don't obviously know the outcome, so these first two questions are going to assume that they lost. So here we go. Um, the Spartans unfortunately lost against Fresno State in the first round of the Mountain West tournament, so we won't see them till next year. Amy's only a freshman, so there's definitely room for growth. So what do you see as something that he can improve on going into next year?
I think the three ball is something that the Spartans need to lock in on, especially with their guards. Everybody can shoot the three, but the consistency just isn't there. If like you said, he's a freshman, he has a couple years to get that shot in, and that'll bring him up to, even if he starts the season strong, that could bring him up to 20 points per game, or the higher teens area if he gets a couple threes a game. So yeah, I think he's a good ball handler. I think he makes the right decisions on the court. But I think he could definitely improve on that three ball and maybe the mid range too. But yeah, I think that'll do it.
And then in the last 8 games of the regular season, that Amy played in, he averaged 16 points, around 41% from the field, 37% from three on 5 attempts, and he did that in about 30 minutes per game. So do you think that's something that can translate over into next season?
Oh, definitely. And like you said, it's in 30 minutes. So when he's playing the extra 4 or 5 minutes, maybe in the 35 end, being that consistent guard, he's going to put up those extra 6, 7 points that are going to will them through games and keep them in it. Because there's been a couple games this season that they have lost by smaller margins, and he's somebody that can put up those extra points if he gets those extra minutes and when he perfects his game a little bit more.
Thomas, do you have anything to add?
I wanted to do like your questions, that the like NCAA questions, or sorry, Mountain West Conference questions, and then I had afterwards to go back to the game.
Okay, so do you want me to go to my next questions?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So the Spartans played in the first round on Wednesday, and they upset Fresno State in the first round. So how crucial is Amy to the success of the Spartans going forward into the tournament?
Yeah, Amy is one of those guys that when, Amari's our go-to guard for sure, leading scorer on the team. But when Amari's not the guard on the floor, there's Trey too. But Myron's just that small guy. He's like a little pest, and that's really what it comes down to is when Trey and Amari aren't quite there, Myron is that dude, and he's that go-to guy. And when you have Ibrahima and you have Sean in the paint, drawing that extra defender, Myron's ready to cut. He's ready to make those backdoor cuts, cut in the lane, and get in there. And teams miss him because, he's not the biggest guy and he's quick. He's super quick. So teams miss him. And just getting into the paint, doing what he has to do, I think he was huge.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And then in the last 8 games of the regular season, Amy played in, he averaged 16 points, 41% from the field, 37% from behind the arc on 5 attempts a game, and he did that in about 30 minutes. So do you think that's something that could translate throughout the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, I think he's he's leaving the regular season on a high note, and he's just kind of carrying it on while he can because he wants to keep playing clearly. And who wants to talk about next season when you still got a chance to win this season? So I think he's going to keep that energy high throughout the rest of the tournament and hopefully get us a couple more wins.
All right, awesome. I wanted to give you just 2 more questions, Aidan, and then we can be sensitive about your time here. So the first one is, a lot of times in college basketball, especially when certain players don't necessarily have the jump shot all the way there, or even if they are hitting consistently, but not necessarily at a clip that you need, or maybe you just need a bucket on a certain possession. It tends to happen in basketball is you just get to the foul line, right? Get to the foul line, get a point, get 2 makes in there at some point. And I noticed in your writing, he went 7 of 8 from the stripe, which is pretty peculiar for a guy who's coming off the bench. Is that something that to do in terms of his scoring diet? Is that a part of his game that's really essential there?
Definitely a part of his game. I think some players, including him, thrive off that body-to-body contact and those and ones and just kind of being dominant, especially when sometimes you just need a couple of free throws to get your game going in the first place. And he's one of those guys that he'll get the and one, he'll come back, might not get the foul call, but next play he's coming back, he's going back inside, getting another and one. So I think he's one of those guys that kind of thrives off that contact, and he likes to be that that little dog in the paint, just dogging his way in.
Awesome. And my second question is, Spartans as a team for men's basketball, they didn't have the greatest record, 8-22 over the season. And I'm just wondering if this guy is such a bright spot and he's coming off the bench, should he be in the starting lineup? Should we be seeing more minutes of him? I know that kind of picked up in the second half of the season, but if he were more involved, do you think that we would have had a better outcome this season?
I think it's Coach Miles' first year, and he's definitely getting to know all the guys and still trying to figure it out himself. So definitely he will creep his way into the starting lineup, I think, over the course of next season. But I think as Miles starts to understand who the standout guys are, who wants it, and he's a freshman still, so Coach Miles knows he has a lot to learn still. So yeah, I think as the team kind of gets a little more cohesive, the offense isn't as stagnant, I think he'll definitely creep into the starting lineup a little more depending on who they're playing. And I think he's going to embrace it for sure.
Awesome. And I'm sorry, one more real quick. If they are able to upset Fresno State, and if he does play that big role that we're expecting him to see this I guess that the games today, what are the odds, do you think, that he plays in the starting lineup this season? If you had to put a number on it.
I think we have to see what happens with Amari. I think he can creep in. Him and Sean, they're both freshmen. I think him and Sean are definitely going to be in the lineup soon. But like I said, it varies with Coach Miles game to game, I feel like, as he kind of acclimates himself. But I could definitely see Amy being that starting guard as his game tightens up a little bit.
Okay, awesome. And Alex, you got any more?
No, man. Thank you, Aidan, for coming on, answering our questions. Really brought some really good insight.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, if you have you have a Twitter, you can shout out your Twitter.
Oh yes, my Twitter, it's Bostic, BOSTIC _Aidan, AIDAN, and I'll cover a bunch of SJSU sports and all of that.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Here, I'll end it.